Hello and welcome aboard the USS Voyager. My name is Bracken, and I'm here to acquaint you with your ship and your role as the operations officer or operations officers aboard this ship. Typically, there are two of you officers serving at the operations stations on the bridge, so I will be referring to you in the plural, whether or not there are two of you throughout this training. Your responsibilities lie in making sure the ship operates smoothly and efficiently. Troop transports, the tow systems, and power distribution are incredibly important to the functionality of our ship, and you are vital to the function and success of your team. You are assigned to work on the bridge because you are one of the best and brightest in Terran Space Command, and your captain trusts you. The bridge is located on Deck 12 in the very core of the ship. As I go through this training, please follow along with the instructions I give you. If there are two of you, each of you have your own computer. Follow along with everything that I say to follow along with, whether it's at your computer or not. You both need to learn both stations. If you're alone, you definitely need to learn both stations, but if there are two of you, you may need to learn the other station just in case the worst should happen and your partner is incapacitated. It is very important that you listen to what I'm teaching you, so that when the time comes, you can accomplish your tasks without my help. So as I ask you to click, type, or do, follow along exactly so that you can see these important effects as we go through your training. And if you ever start to fall behind, you can pause this training at any time so that you can catch up to what I'm talking about. As we move through, there will be several times that I ask you to type in information. If you need extra time to type anything in, please pause this training so that you do not get lost as I move ahead. I'm going to repeat that one more time so you understand how important it is. If you need extra time to type anything in when you're told to type, immediately pause your training so that you don't get lost when I move on. When you're finished typing, you can then press play so that your training resumes. A couple more things I want to cover before we get started. A field is a box where you can type information in. You may already have known that, but it is important that you understand what I'm talking about when I'm talking about a field. Anytime I'm talking about a field, I am talking about the blank space where you can type in a box on your screen. Also, if at any time you need help during this training, or you feel undeniably confused and cannot figure out what's going on by yourself, you should pause your training and then raise your hand, and one of our staff members will come to assist you. Do not forget to pause before you raise your hand. Now that we've got those basics out of the way, the very first thing we need to do is log into your station to gain access. In order to do that, we need to go to the bottom right corner of your screen and enter your name where it says Officer Login, and type your name into the empty field there. If there are two of you, log in to your respective computers. If it's just one of you, log in to both. This is the last time I'll mention this, but if you need extra time to type, please pause your training and enter your name, and restart when you're done. Now that your name is typed in, simply click the Login button directly below the field. This will give you access to the station. Before we do anything else, let's take a look at the widgets across the top center of your screen. If there are two of you, both of you can do this on your respective computers at the same time. If it's just one of you, pick which computer you want to start with. These widgets were designed to make yours and everyone else's job easier. The very first widget looks like a pink square with a pencil. If you hover over it, the words Long Range Message Composer appear, telling you what the widget is. This widget will allow us to craft and send a long-range message. Let's go ahead and do that now. Click on the Long Range Message Composer widget if you haven't already. A box will appear. At the top, you'll notice that once again we have the name of the widget, Long Range Message Composer. And then we have an empty to field and an empty body field. Long range messages are similar to email. Because Voyager is often sent off into the vast darkness of space, she needed a way for her crew to transmit messages to Terran Space Command and also their families. It can get quite lonely out in the middle of space. This widget is available on every computer in the ship and allows any crew member to send any messages to anyone as long as they have the right address. We're going to send a long-range message to Terran Space Command, so go ahead and type that into the To field. Then, in the body of the message, type in, "This is a test." Don't worry too much about spelling because the computer can fix that automatically after the message is sent in most cases. Now that we have our message typed, all we need to do is click Q for sending, which is right below the field you typed "This is a test" into. Once you've clicked that, your message is going to the review stage and will be sent if it's approved. The counterintelligence officer or officers review all outgoing communications to ensure that no sensitive information is being sent. The next widget is the calculator widget. It's right next to the long-range message composer. Go ahead and click on that to pull that up. If you ever need a calculator to quickly perform any math function, you can pull this calculator up. Go ahead and click the close button to exit now. Next to the calculator is your objectives widget. Go ahead and click on it. This will allow you to see your mission objectives as you progress throughout your mission. You'll notice there is nothing in there right now. That's because we are in training. You can check this, however, during your mission. Go ahead and click the close button to exit now. Next is the officer's log. The officer's log is a great place to take notes of happenings in your mission or keep a journal of things that have happened or that you've been told so that you can remember them in critical situations. One of my heroes, Quincy Lewis, taught me at an early age that if you don't write it down, you won't remember it when you need it. Not only is that true on your mission today, but is a great take-home lesson. Writing things down activates multiple centers of your brain and causes the memory to be recalled more effectively than when it's just heard. Use this to keep track of the various aspects of your mission. To enter something into the log, simply click the Start Log button. This will open a field on the right side of the window. If you click in the empty field, you can now type. Because we're in training, the log will be reset, so we're not going to type anything too exciting here. Just type in, "We are in training," and then click Save. Once you click Save, you'll notice how the log appears on the left-hand side. As you add entries, you'll be able to go back through and see any entry you've created. Use this throughout your mission to guarantee your success. You may now close that window. The next widget is the messaging widget. This allows you to instantly message anyone on the bridge and occasionally people on other decks depending on what you're doing at your station. For now, I just want to teach you how to use this. It is important to note that this isn't a toy. This is critical for mission success. It's for critical mission information only. Its purpose is to allow nonverbal communication to other crew members so that it stays relatively quiet on the bridge. This will allow the captain to hear everything that's going on, instead of the bridge becoming littered with side conversations that are distracting and make it difficult to hear things. It will also allow you to work quickly and efficiently on what you are doing without having to get up and run between stations. Let's send a message right now to the Command Monitor station. To do this, click New Message. Once you've done this, find Command Monitor in the list. Once you've found it, click on it, and you'll notice on the right-hand side where it says Messages, it now says Conversation with Command Monitor. Now all you have to do is type a message in the empty field next to where it says Send Message. The message we'll type right now is going to once again say, "This is a test." Once you have that typed in, go ahead and hit the Send Message button. When you do, you will see that it says your station name and then your message. Make sure you check back after you've sent a message to see if you've received a response. If and when they respond, it will show their station name and the message. You may now close out of this screen by clicking the Close button. The next widget is the Training widget. If ever in the middle of your mission you feel like you don't remember how to do something, clicking on that widget will help you understand what's going on a specific screen. It will give you a refresher course on how the various aspects of that screen work. You may close out of this if you've clicked it, by selecting the X in the top left corner. The last widget is the logout widget. You should only log out of your station if you feel like the bridge is going to be taken over and don't want the enemy to have access to your computer. Now that we've explored the widgets, let's take a look at the technology you control at the operations stations themselves. We'll start with the operations alpha station. If you move your mouse to the left side of the screen, where there are several buttons, you'll notice that when you hover over a button, words appear next to these buttons. This tells you which screens you have access to. Right now, please select the button that says Cargo Control. As Chief, and Deputy Chief of Operations if there are two of you, you are given direct responsibility of the cargo in all of the holds inside the ship. In order to locate cargo, you can search by deck and room, or you could type into the Find Inventory field to locate what you're looking for, and then select it. Oftentimes, you'll be asked to transfer certain cargo to varying locations throughout the ship. In order to do this, you see that you have two cargo panes. The one to the left is where you're getting the cargo from, and the pane to the right is where you're sending the cargo to. Let's imagine that Sickbay has called the bridge and is requesting that you transfer 20 bags of saline to Surgery Bay Alpha. In order to do this, you would select Deck 5 on the left-hand pane and choose the Main Medical Storage Room in the Room drop-down menu. You'll see that there is different equipment being stored here. On the right-hand pane, select Deck 5 and find Surgery Bay Alpha in the Room drop-down menu. In order to transfer these 20 bags of saline, all you need to do is click Saline 20 times so that it shows 20 bags in the surgery bay on the right pane. Go ahead and do that now, and pause if you need more time. You have cargo technicians on every deck assigned to handle these tasks and transfers as you assign them. But that is how you transfer cargo. You'll notice the Find Inventory search bar. If you're asked to send equipment but can't find the equipment, type it here and it will tell you the deck and the room that equipment is on so that you can easily start the transfer process. Go ahead and type in saline, spelled S-A-L-I-N-E. This will show you that there is saline in the medical storage room and now also in Surgery Bay Alpha. This is the quickest way to locate what you're looking for. Now that we've looked at the cargo transfer screen, let's move on to coolant control. In order to get there, move your mouse to the left side of your screen and select the coolant control button. This will take us to the coolant control screen. You are also in charge of coolant distribution, making sure systems that require coolant have access to it. You'll notice the large dome-like structure on the left-hand side. That is our coolant reservoir. You can fill coolant to any of these systems from the reservoir by selecting Fill Coolant. Right now, all of the coolant is full, so there would be no need to fill anything. However, if the fusion drive was heating up, the con officer, sitting to your left, would be able to flush coolant through the fusion drive to decrease the amount of heat buildup that existed in the engine. If the engine overheats, it could blow, so that's coolant's job, to cool down systems that can heat up. As they use coolant to cool the engines, they may request more coolant from you. You would simply click Fill Coolant to give them more. You would hold it down to give them lots more. The coolant will fill into the fusion drive, but will decrease the total amount available in the reservoir. You can also fill the reservoir by taking coolant out of a system and selecting Fill Reservoir to transfer it to another location. However, I wouldn't recommend taking coolant out of systems unless the reservoir is empty and a more critical system requires coolant for some reason. Next, let's take a look at the shielding system. The shielding system is a simple electromagnetic field that surrounds the ship. It helps to protect us from radiation, and that's about it. Recently, we have discovered, though, that if we can detect the exact frequency emitted by inbound weapons, that the magnetic shield can absorb the brunt of the explosion if it's set to that frequency. But the impact will make that shield completely inert. You'll notice you have frequency settings for each of our 6 shielding systems. The forward shields protect the front of the ship, the aft shields the rear of the ship, the port shields the left of the ship, the starboard shields the right of the ship, the ventral shields the bottom of the ship, and the dorsal shields the top of the ship. To raise an individual shielding system, you can choose just one set of shields like the forward shields to raise. Go ahead and click the Raise Forward Shields button. You'll notice that the forward shield is now displayed in front of our ship on the left-hand side. Now let's hit the Raise All Shields button. You'll notice that all of the remaining shields come online. A few things to note. The longer the shields are on, the less effective the electromagnetic field becomes. Only use these shields to protect against radiation, or if you have found the exact frequency of incoming weapons fire. If you leave the shields on for a long time, it takes them quite some time to recharge, and radiation is a threat we face anytime we lock battle with another race, get too close to a star, or enter orbit of a planet that emits heavy radiation. It is also important to note that as the shields weaken, they'll change from that blue color to yellow and then to red, and then they will be non-existent. Keep a watchful eye on your shields so you know which section is strongest. For training purposes, go ahead and leave your shields on at this time. Let's now take a look at the vessel status screen. Move your mouse to the left-hand side of the screen and select the Vessel Status button. This screen here shows you a lot of what's going on inside the ship. You can see our current destination, what speed we're moving at, if we have a target locked to fire at, how many crew members are in the ship, our radiation level, battery charge, and coolant reserve. You can also see any damaged systems in the right-hand pane, which the energy battery system should now be showing. You can also see that the shields are raised and can control the alert status. This screen is simply to allow you to monitor ship operations and give you a quick bird's-eye view of what needs doing. We're now going to shift gears and take a look at the operations beta computer. If you haven't already logged in for some reason, please do so now. We're going to start by selecting the transpod system. When you left the briefing room to enter the bridge, you entered the ship's transit system. There are several of those pods located throughout the ship. Every diaspora ship, and honestly almost every ship, has the same pods in their vessel because these pods can be sent from one ship to another. We call this system the transpod system, and it allows us to create a small artificial wormhole that connects to the other vessel and lets our transpod move there and theirs to us. We can use this for troop transport, cargo transport, and anything else you might want to send to another location. The transpod system can even transport a group to an uninhabited planet without a transpod system to receive. It's just a little trickier on the programming side. You don't have to worry about that at all. All you have to worry about is actually using the system. To do this, we choose a target and tell the computer where we're sending it. Let's send some fictional cargo to Starbase. In the target field, type cargo, and in the destination field, type Starbase. Once you've done that, hit the Begin Scan button. This will get the computer to make sure both locations are prepped to send and receive. Once the signals are cleared, and the computer deems that transport is safe and possible, you are then going to see a target appear and a location appear on a grid. We just need to line up the transport so that it's clear. We don't leave this to the computer. We want to make sure we line this up properly and have a pair of human eyes on it at all times. To finalize the transport lock, we need to move the target over to the destination. The target is the more complete looking object. It looks like a crosshair with 2 corners filled in. Drag this on top of the destination lock. Line it up perfectly so that the crosshairs are aligned and all 4 quadrants of the circle are filled. Then, move your mouse to the right side and activate the transport matrix by dragging the 3 yellow bars from the bottom of the screen to the top of the screen. You do not need to click. The bars will follow your mouse. But be careful not to go too quickly or you'll lose your lock. Go ahead and do this now. Once the transport is complete, you'd hear this sound. which indicates that the transport occurred, and now your screen will go back to the original screen, indicating that you could begin another transport. Let's move on to the tow system, or the TOW system. Select that from your left side menu. Our TOW system fires 4 cables to help tow another vessel, and then uses what we call a tractor beam to make sure the stress on the system isn't going to tear our ship apart. To activate the entire system, simply select the Activate Tractor Beam button. Once the system is active, you'll note the stress and strength indicators appear on the right-hand corner of the screen. We need our strength to be at, or preferably higher, the stress that is shown on the left side of that indicator. Go ahead and increase the strength by pulling the blue arrow looking thing up past 15%. This will allow us to tow a vessel behind us effectively and keep our ship from ripping apart, as I mentioned earlier, in the process. Now let's take a look at the power distribution screen. Move your mouse to the left-hand side and select this screen from your menu. This is how you assign power to varying systems throughout the ship. The yellow lines indicate required power points for systems. Some systems have more than one yellow indicator. This means that the system has multiple settings or speeds in the case of the engines, and can use more power to do different things. The green boxes represent points of power, which is the measurement we use to keep everything running. The points required for a system to function are, again, indicated by the yellow lines. To increase power to a system, you would select the last green box in that system and drag it towards the right. For now, let's put more power in the fusion engines so that our ship can go faster. Right now, our fusion engines can go at what's called 1/4 fusion reaction speed. That fusion reaction propels the ship forward. If the captain wanted to go 1/2 fusion reaction speed, we'd move to the next yellow line. 3/4 is 2 yellow lines forward, full is 3 yellow lines forward, and that last yellow line on the fusion reaction is burnout speed. Let's give the captain enough power to go 3/4 fusion reaction speed at this time. Drag your green boxes to the 3rd yellow line in the row. Voyager could now go 3/4 reaction speed. Now you'll notice, however, that down at the bottom, it shows we are drawing 32 points of power. We have 180 points of power being generated by our main reactor, but we are using 212 power points. That means we are using 32 points of power too much for what we are generating from our main reactor. This is called a power imbalance. Anytime we have a power imbalance, you'll hear this noise. That sound always means that we are using more or less power than is available, which is causing stress to our main reactor. This is okay because our ship does have the energy battery system. As you may recall though, the battery system is offline. That means we are drawing an extra 32 points of power from the reactor, making it work way harder than it should, and that is incredibly bad because if our reactor overheats and explodes, if our ship isn't destroyed first, we'll be stuck in space until we can get a rescue. If we can get a rescue. If the battery was working right now, this imbalance would be okay because the extra power could draw from the battery until the battery was depleted. If we use less power than we are generating, we can charge the battery, but again, because the battery is offline, we're going to need to balance our power. That means we need to be using exactly what we're outputting. Let's pull power out of some systems that we aren't currently using. We'll start with the shields. Take all of the power out of the shield systems, every single one. You do this by dragging the first green box all the way to the left on each of the shielding systems. Now that you've done this, you'll notice that we are now using less than the total available power. We have 3 points of extra power that we need to put somewhere. Let's put that extra power into the jump drive system. Once you've put the 3 points of power into the jump drive system, you'll notice that your power draw will show 0, and your power output is balanced with the power used, so there is no overload in any system. Pay very close attention to this screen as power can fluctuate as different things happen throughout your mission. Keeping power balanced is a great idea, but so is charging the batteries. Remember, if you're using less power than is being generated and the battery system is functioning, you can charge the batteries to use and draw power from when you need a little extra boost of power. Very lastly, if you, on either computer, or both of you, select the Library Information screen, you can see many entries on many different topics. These topics also have categories that you are welcome to research if you wish and have time. Remember that this should never take over your primary responsibilities, but is a great place to gather information about known alien races, technology, or governmental structure. This concludes your training. I hope you understand how important your responsibilities on this ship are. You are part of a team in charge of the roughly 2,100 lives on your ship. If there is anything you don't understand, make sure you get clarification on it now. You may now raise your hand, and a staff member will come and grab your training equipment from you. Good luck.